Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Seeds and Weeds podcast, brought to you by Small House Farm. If you're looking to celebrate plants and the people that love them, then this is the podcast for you. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Bevin Cohen. Thanks for joining us, friends. You are in for a treat today. We're going to be doing 5 questions with the one and only Sonya Harris. Now, Sonya is a community activist, gardener, founder of the Bullock Children's Garden, and all-around groovy lady. Today, Sonya's going to tell us how to get our hands on some of her special seeds. And after the interview, I'll be sharing my top 5 favorite peppers, and you don't want to miss that. Well, speaking of peppers, it's getting close to time to start pepper seeds here at Small House Farm. Peppers are a long season crop, so we need to get them started early, indoors and under lights. We also use heat mats to encourage germination. Pepper seeds typically like soil temperatures close to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Depending on where you are and when your last frost date is, if you have one, you'll want to start your pepper seeds around 6 to 8 weeks before that last frost. For the super hot peppers, you might want to start even sooner, as they could take a long time to mature. I'll be waiting until March to start my pepper seeds. On the last weekend of February, we host a big seed swap, and I like to wait to start my seeds until after the swap, just in case I find something special that I want to grow. Did you know that we send out packets of free heirloom seeds from our garden to some of our supporters on Patreon? Well, we do. Supporters at the Seeds and Weeds tier get packets of seeds, a copy of my first book, From Our Seeds and Their Keepers. They get access to our monthly Seed Stories blog, plus all of the benefits included in the other tiers. That's pretty amazing, really. You can go check that out at patreon.com/smallhousefarm or on our website, seedsandweedspodcast.com. Now, let's get on to the interview. Sonya Harris is a former special education teacher with over 20 years experience, and she's the founder of the award-winning Bullock Children's Garden in Glassboro, New Jersey. Last year, Sonya launched the Garden Teacher's Yard, where she provides low-cost organic seedlings and produce to the public. Today, Sonya is joining us for 5 questions. I'm so excited to have you on the show today.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here.
Before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do.
My name is Sonya Harris. I am a retired special educator. I taught in the public school system for about 25 years, and I retired to run my nonprofit, Bullock Garden Project. And since then, I've also started a for-profit called NJ Garden Teacher's Yard or Garden Teacher's Yard. And that's just a for-profit that can help fund the nonprofit.
Fantastic. I'm going to put all those links in the show notes too, so make it easier for folks to find you. That's fantastic. So what we're going to do today, it's super fun. It's just 5 questions. I got 5 questions, no follow-ups whatsoever. And that's what we're going to do. How does that sound?
Bet. Let's do it.
All right, ready. Number 1, if you had to pick a favorite plant or plant family, what would it be and why?
Tomatoes. I'm from Jersey.
Okay.
I've always loved tomatoes. When I was growing up, the way my family was and the way it was in the grocery store, you didn't get tomatoes year round. You got them at season. Getting a fresh tomato was special. I can't eat them out of the store anymore. So I grow tons and I love them.
I love it. So I'm going to break my rule right away and ask a follow-up question. What's your favorite tomato?
You know, of course I have to love a Jersey beefsteak, but black creme has just won my heart year after year after year.
Black creme. I dig it. Okay. Next question. What is your most recent garden success?
I have this area. It's considered my kitchen garden. I've always considered it my kitchen garden. But last summer of 2021, I had planted some seeds there and they didn't really do anything. That area was pretty much just a bust. So I planned it out carefully for summer of 2022. I had different seeds and herbs and whatnot growing in there. And all of a sudden I had different plants coming up where I went, I don't know what this is. I had to go back in, look at my journals from the previous summer, figure out what seeds were growing in there. And I found, oh my gosh, I found a Rudbeckia that I totally had forgotten. It doesn't look like the regular Rudbeckia. It's kind of more of a deeper yellowish red, almost an orange, but not as much. It's still more of a yellow red. I don't remember what variety it was. It was so pretty. But I had white African sorghum growing in there. There was some sweet Elysium that was in there. Now, these are seed that I had sown in 2021, did not grow, overwintered, and came back with a beautiful vengeance. That's my pride and joy.
That's way cool. What a sweet garden surprise. Okay, so here's the next question. What is your most recent garden failure? Or more specifically, what is the lesson that you learned from a recent garden failure?
Wow. I just have to pick one. Okay.
There's always so many to choose from.
There is, you're not a real gardener unless you have a whole bunch of failures that are behind you, because it makes you appreciate the successes so much more. I have an area where I planted what I thought was a good area, where I planted some first try tomatoes, some first runs, things that I had just got from USDA. And I thought I had a wonderful spot for them. And I really should have tested the soil. They didn't grow. And it broke my heart because I had all of these beautiful seedlings, maybe about a foot tall, full of flowers, not one tomato off of 8 plants. So that was my most heartbreaking failure this year. There's a lot of others, but that was my most heartbreaking one.
That is heartbreaking. What is the lesson that you can learn from that?
Well, first of all, I'm going to test the soil if I haven't grown, like something like that. It's such a diva. Tomatoes are such a diva in the system. I need to test the soil. And I need to make sure that this plant really has what it needs to grow instead of just assuming. So I'm going to just try again. I have a few seeds left from each variety. I'm going to try again next year and we'll see how it goes.
That's the best you could do. That's a good lesson to learn. You always got to try again. Don't give up.
Absolutely.
So what is a current project that you're working on that you're super excited about? So what do you want to plug today?
Oh my gosh. The current project is getting seeds together to sell on the Garden Teacher's Yard website. I'm really excited about that. I'm working with germination right now, trying to figure some of those things out. I have my certification as a seed farmer and just finished my class on permaculture design. And I want to be able to sell seeds at an extremely low cost, just locally, working with an organization that will help people who don't have abundant funds or even a credit card. So helping them be able to come to this website and purchase seeds. So it's cyclical, where there's establishing and maintaining a level of pride for people who want to go out and purchase their own seeds and don't want to get a handout, because we've run into some people like that doing charity work. You see a lot of people, especially people from an older generation, who feel good about that. Even if they're giving you a dime, they feel proud that they are actually purchasing something. We want to have this special low cost seed line that's organic, high quality seeds, that things that I've been growing in my garden for years. And I want to make sure that those are coming back out to some local people here. And like I said, all the proceeds go right to Bullock Garden Project.
Mm-hmm. I totally dig it. So can you give us a sneak peek into some of the varieties that you might be offering?
I can. I have the Jersey beefsteak. If I don't offer that, they're going to pull my Jersey card. I have some sunflowers. This year I grew some mammoth. I have some Sonya. Of course, you have to have some Sonya sunflowers if your name is Sonya. And they're all just mixed together. I have some Asclepia syrica that I've grown for years, and it just keeps coming back stronger. I have some clay peas. I have lettuce, carrots. Like I said, the things that are kind of important to grow around here, around this area. And the only thing I don't have is corn, because corn doesn't grow well for me.
Fair enough. I grew those mammoth sunflowers as well last year. And boy, mammoth is right. They were tremendous. I couldn't believe it.
Yes, they were huge. I didn't expect 8-foot tall sunflowers.
They were taller than my house.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, wow, how am I going to get these down? How am I going to get these seed heads? Because I like to leave things up. I had to cut them off at the knees.
Yeah, they're great sunflowers. We did the same thing. We cut them off. The kids yelled timber, and we brought them down.
That's what makes it fun.
Absolutely. Okay, so here's the next question. What is a project that you're not personally involved in that you're really excited about? So who is your shout out today?
My shout out is to Ujamaa Seeds. I am so excited to be a part of this collective of farmers who are brown, Black people who are really excited about growing food and learning about farming and reclaiming seeds that have been important to our heritage. And I've had a chance to grow some seeds specific for Ujamaa Seed Company. And I'm just really excited for people to go and enjoy those. I want to see the feedback that people give to seeds that I was able to grow that honestly made me kind of cry when I put them into the ground thinking about my ancestry. I am really proud of that venture and implore everyone to go look at Ujamaa Farms and Ujamaa Seeds.
That's amazing. That's a great shout out, Sonya. All right. Well, that's it. Sonya Harris. That's 5 questions. So if folks are looking to connect with you after this online, where do they find your links? Where do they find you?
Let me tell you, it's very easy to find me. You just type in NJ Garden Teacher, no matter what social media you're using, and you're going to find me somehow. If you want to find the nonprofit, you can look up Bullock Garden Project, and that's BULLOCK gardenproject.org. Also, you can go to Garden Teachers with an S yard.com. So please look me up and connect. I love it.
Super groovy, Sonya. Thank you again for being on the podcast with us today.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it.
It is always so much fun to sit down and chat with Sonya. She's just awesome. I hope that you all enjoyed that interview as much as I did. And of course, Sonya's links are down in the show notes and at seedsandweedspodcast.com. And now it's time for my top 5 favorite peppers. Like any other top 5 list, it was a challenge putting this together. I mean, how do you choose only 5 peppers? Not easy. We've grown dozens of varieties over the years here at Small House, so to narrow it down, I needed peppers that were not only productive, but could also have time to ripen before the frost here in Michigan. I'm not really into the super hots, so I know I could eliminate those. I've also chosen some varieties for their interesting backstories, and some just because they're beautiful. So, without further ado, here are my top 5 peppers. To start us off at number 5, we have cayenne. This is a classic, right? But I love growing cayenne peppers, and they're so useful. We dry half the harvest, then we crush it into flakes, and then we use it in the kitchen, and then we infuse the rest of the peppers in oil, which we then use in our muscle and joint salve that we sell on our website. The capsaicin, the same chemical that gives the peppers their spice, is wonderful for topical pain relief. Sore muscles, joint pain, inflammation, cayenne peppers is what you need. They're useful in the kitchen, but also in the apothecary. That's why I had to include them in my top 5 list. And at number 4, it's going to be shishito peppers. This pepper was developed in Japan, but it's become quite popular at restaurants all over the world. Most commonly, shishito peppers are served green, but I also enjoy them after they've ripened to turn red. You just cook them in a dry cast iron pan on the stovetop until they blister, and then toss them with a little toasted sesame oil, maybe some sesame seeds. It's a mild pepper, but every once in a while you can get a hot one, so that's a fun surprise. My number 3 favorite pepper right now is one that's simply called the fish pepper. It's a great little pepper with an interesting history, but what I really love about the variety is how beautiful the plants are. The leaves on the plant are variegated, and the peppers start off white, and then they develop yellow and green striping before they finally turn red as they mature. It is a gorgeous plant. It's perfect for edible landscaping, and the peppers are just about as hot as jalapenos, although they are a bit smaller in size. Next on our list, coming in at number 2, we have Calabrian chilies. Now, as the name implies, these peppers were bred and selected in the Calabrian region of southern Italy, and they do have a bit of kick. They're often packed in oil, but I've also seen them used dried and ground. Truth be told, I was first turned on to these peppers because of Bobby Flay. He uses them a lot on the show, and I got my seeds from our friend Jeff Quattrone, who you might remember was our guest on the very first episode of this podcast. I've been trying to get more in touch with the food crops connected to my ancestors, and much of my family came to America from southern France and Italy. So during my hunt for seeds connected to Italy, Jeff offered me some of these classic Italian peppers, and I just couldn't refuse. I'm super happy about it too, because these Calabrian chilies were crazy productive and super tasty. And my number 1 favorite pepper right now is Tabasco. I'm serious. The same pepper that they use to make Tabasco sauce, which can be found in grocery stores practically everywhere. In March of 22, Heather and I took a trip down to Louisiana to celebrate my birthday. And of course, we went to New Orleans and we did all the things. Then we spent a day exploring Lafayette. We hiked a swamp. We drove down in the Delta and we ate all of the food. It was amazing. But one of the highlights of the trip for me was visiting Avery Island. It's home of the world-famous Tabasco sauce. And to learn about the local history surrounding this pepper and the impact that it had on the region was just fascinating to me. Best of all, I was able to get some Tabasco pepper seeds from the island to bring home and grow in my garden. Now, obviously, they have a longer growing season down there in Louisiana, but the peppers grew just fine. And I was even able to harvest seeds from mature Tabasco peppers grown right here in my Michigan garden. And that's it. That's my top 5 favorite peppers for now. We actually grew all these varieties in our garden last year, and we saved seeds to share with all of you. So if you'd like to try growing some of these wonderful peppers, you can find our seeds for sale at smallhousefarm.com. We offer more than just peppers too. We have tomatoes, beans, greens, herbs, flowers, so much more. We have lots of rare and unique heirlooms for your garden, so be sure to check out the selection at smallhousefarm.com. And that brings us to the end of the show. Thanks again for joining us, folks. And remember, you can always support the podcast through our Patreon. And you can find that link and many more at seedsandweedspodcast.com. Thanks again to Sonya Harris for being on the show today. This episode was edited and produced by all of us here at Small House Farm. The song you're listening to right now is called Tico Tico by Joseph Monter. I'm Bevin Cohen, and we'll see you next time.